Good morning, everybody. It's great to see you today. My name is Valerie. I'm one of the pastors on staff. And this morning, I want to focus in on what was really the main point of our sermon this last weekend, and that is that Jesus is more than enough. He's more than we can imagine for anything we might be facing. And if you're like me and you maybe have been around church for a long time or you've heard this before, the temptation can be to just say, oh, yeah, I know Jesus is more than enough. But we don't actually feel that at all in our hearts, or we're not living like that. We're still running around panicking, freaking out, trying to make our plans work, trying to control people, manipulate things so that we can get it to work because we think we have to be more than enough for everything we're facing. But this weekend, Mark reminded us, no, we don't have to do that. Jesus is more than enough for anything that we are facing, whether it's something as maybe small as wondering, can I possibly be patient with this job, with this coworker, with this spouse, with these kids? Yes, Jesus is more than enough. He can give you more than enough patience. Or maybe it's something huge. Maybe it's a fear. Maybe you don't have enough money. Maybe you don't have a place to live, or you have to move and you're thinking, is Jesus more than enough? Yes, he is more than enough peace. He has more than enough power. He has more than enough plans for your life, for that situation. And just to remind you today of how great and amazing and powerful our Jesus is, I want to go back to Colossians chapter 1 and remind you what the Apostle Paul tells us about Jesus in that passage, starting in verse 15. It says, the Son, that's Jesus, is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether it's thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things have been created by him and for him. He is before all things. And I love this next sentence. And in him, all things hold together. And that includes you. All things hold together. He is more than enough. The Apostle Paul goes on to say, he is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have the supremacy. In everything. Everything, right down to the littlest detail in our lives. Jesus is more than enough. He is the beginning and the end. And so as we face things today, whether they're big, whether they're small, whether they're somewhere in the middle, whether they're joyful, whether they're scary, I want to encourage you to remember that Jesus is more than enough. One of the hymns we sang in church this weekend, one of my favorites, The Solid Rock, starts out by saying, my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame. That means I dare not trust the greatest idea, the nicest thing, the prettiest thing I can think of, but wholly lean on Jesus' name. On Christ, the solid rock I stand. All other ground, all other ideas, all other plans, all other anything is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. As you go through today, I hope that not only will you remember that Jesus is more than enough for whatever you're going through, but I hope that you will also remember and rejoice in the fact that the Jesus who is more than enough is in love with you. He wants to be more than enough for you. He is more than enough for you. We just need to remember that and live like it today. Hope that you have a great day, and we will see you at church.